In February, I wanted to move a motion. I wanted to move a motion for the investigation on the ills of the corrupt practice in Ajakuta Steel Company. I listed that motion 5 times. It was the 6th time that it was listed on the order paper that was approved. Many senators can testify to that. I went to him in his office. And I said, Senate President, you know how important this Ajakuta Steel Company to me is. You know how important it is to my people and to Nigerians. I've noticed that you have stepped down this motion. As a matter of fact, a number of senators told me, go and see him and plead with him so that he would take it. I was like, sir, please, why can't you take this motion? It's very important. It's been listed. Then it was listed the 3rd time and stepped down. He then said, Natasha, I'm the chief presiding officer of the Senate. You can enjoy a whole lot if you take care of me and make me happy. At that point, I said, sir, I'll pretend that I didn't hear this. He said, well, the ball is in your court.
These are serious allegations by Senator Natasha Akpabio against Akpabio, the Senate President. He needs to release a statement immediately and defend himself. Sexual harassment is a serious crime, and she said a lot of things. You can watch the rest of the interview on Arise TV channel. Also, this is not the first time Akpabio is being accused of sexual harassment. Remember that lady that says she slapped him because he was making sexual advances to her?
Ogoni woman, the only Nigerian woman that has slapped his face.
Why did you slap him? Why did you slap him?
He slapped him because of his plan B. He thought that he could, since he couldn't get me to take that money, he thought that plan B, if it could come up on me. We were having a meeting, Akpabio's meeting with me is either in Apple or at Meridian or whatever. Those are his meetings. I slapped him.
Well, Joy, are you accusing Senator Akpabio of attempted rape? Is that the point you are making? Or sexual harassment?
Harassment sounds better, not rape.
Okay.
Unfortunately, even if she recorded all the sexual advances Akpabio made to her, she got everything on video or even on audio alone, she might not get justice in court. Yes, this is a man who is not supposed to be a senator in the first place, not to talk of being the Senate President. He contested the presidential primaries of APC, and the electoral law says that anyone that participates in a primary election is no longer eligible to contest in another primary election in the same election cycle. It is there in the electoral law, but somehow corrupt justices of the Supreme Court found ways to return this man to the Senate. That's why you don't expect Akpabio to uphold the law in the Senate, because he came through a flawed process. And the issue that started the altercation between him and Senator Natasha in the Senate was about the rearrangement of seats to accommodate decamped senators. Akpabio wasn't supposed to do that in the first place, despite protestation from PDP and other opposition parties. He was supposed to declare their seats vacant. That's what the law says. Any lawmaker that decamps to another party is supposed to lose his seat. That's what the law says. Instead of declaring these seats vacant and writing to INEC to conduct fresh elections in their many constituencies, he rearranged the seats to accommodate the decamped senators. Of course, Senator Natasha Akpabio didn't like the new seating arrangement. She protested, and Akpabio called in security to remove her from the Senate auditorium.
Can the Sergeant upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. Ever since the night of incident, you have deliberately silenced my voice and the voice of Kogi Central on this block. You have denied me the right to contribute to motions. I have not been able to take the second reading of my numerous debates. I am not afraid of you. I am not afraid of you, Mr. Senate President, but you will not silence my voice. You will not silence my voice.
Now you can compare how Akpabio handled the situation between him and Senator Natasha Akpabio and how Senator Saraki handled the same issue when Akpabio protested against the new seating arrangement. Akpabio was in PDP at the time, and of course Saraki was the Senate President.
I sat next to Senator Kwankwaso until I was led by the sergeant at arms that this is my seat. I asked the clerk whether he allocated that seat to you. He said he didn't. He told me he would prefer to sit here. So I said there is no microphone there, but he said he will still prefer to sit there. If there's been a senator that have allowed to speak without a microphone, state. That's never happened in this chamber. All we said is there's no microphone where you are. Go to a place where there's one and you can speak. Now you have the floor, speak and let us make progress. I want to apologize to my colleagues if I raised my voice earlier.
You can judge for yourself and draw your own conclusions, but one thing is obvious. Akpabio didn't give Senator Natasha Akpoti opportunity to express herself. At a time, he couldn't take it any longer. He had to mute her microphone, and within a short time, he invited security to remove her from the Senate floor. Even a judge that is more powerful than a Senate president can't do what Akpabio did. Have you ever heard where a judge calls in security to remove someone from the court? No. So why did Akpabio do it? To show that he is powerful when he is only first among equals. Yes, they were all elected the same way. The difference is that he heads the Senate. Now, it will be a surprise if Senator Natasha Akpoti didn't make any recording of the many sexual harassment and advances Akpabio made to her, because according to her, she enumerated many times in December, in February. Of course, the Arise TV journalists didn't allow her to finish, but the mere fact that Akpabio made sexual advances to her in December in Akwa State should have forced her to try to record a second event. Yes, she has seen that he's serious about it. He really wants to sleep with her. What she would have done was to catch him on record, so that now she's making the allegations, it wouldn't seem as if she's lying against him, that it's her word against him. Even if the courts will not do anything against Akpabio, she will release this tape to the public. That disgrace alone would probably end his career, because Shinsi said that Akpabio told her that he is the presiding officer of the Senate and that if she fails to cooperate with him, she will never go far in the Senate. He made it clear to her that without sleeping with him, she will not make any progress. Any bill she supports or promotes in the Senate will never get passed. So she should have set the trap for him and eventually would have fallen into the trap, since he is bent on sleeping with a married woman. If these allegations against Senator Akpabio are true, then it means that Senator Akpabio is a clog in the wheel of progress in the Senate. If he is abusing his powers by preventing someone from tabling a motion or a bill because he wants to sleep with the person, that means he's preventing that person from progressing, from bringing progress to her constituency, which means that unless Senator Natasha Akpoti sleeps with him, her constituents will never experience good governance that would have been brought about by the motion or bill she would have tabled. So he's a clog in the wheel of progress in the Senate. That's why the Senate under him is a rubber stamp. Anything the executive branch tables to them, they always pass it by the minute. He must do anything to make sure the bills are passed. Whether it will benefit Nigerians or not, he doesn't care. He just wants to do what the executive branch tells him to do. Of course, there has been protests against this. What Senator Natasha Akpoti should do going forward is to try and convince opposition lawmakers in the Senate to speak with one voice. It's obvious why they are afraid. Not just opposition lawmakers, everyone in the Senate is afraid, because the leadership will use suspension to threaten anyone. And once a senator is suspended, that means the person will not earn any emolument, no salary, depending on the duration. It might be 3 months or even more. So that loss of salary and entitlements is the major reason they don't speak up in the Senate. Yes. And now that Senator Natasha Akpoti would face a disciplinary committee in the Senate, it's obvious what is coming for her. She might be suspended. And once she's suspended, she can't carry out her duties as a senator. She won't earn any salary, nothing for her until the suspension ends. Opposition lawmakers should be taking notes. These should be changed when they gain power in the future. There's no way justice can be served when senators sit to decide the fate of a fellow senator. Since we copied the American system of government, we shouldn't have a Senate president among the senators themselves. No, the vice president should be the Senate president like it is obtainable in the United States. He should cast his one vote when senators are tied. That's how it should work, so that this abuse of power going forward should stop. How can someone be able to abuse his powers to literally terrorize and intimidate fellow senators? It shouldn't be happening in Nigeria. Thanks for watching.